Hello, welcome back to Sabbath Worship with Ben. Hope you all will enjoy this. Sorry I've been gone for a while, but returned. This week we're going to look at the lesson as well as Romans chapter 11. So I hope you all will be blessed by it. Now I'm going to do my lesson for this week. This lesson is entitled A Good Report. So this week's lesson is all about Paul, his time that he spends in Rome while under captivity of the Romans. In the past couple of weeks' lessons, Paul has been sent to Rome because the Jewish leaders kept trying to find an opportunity to kill him. So they asked the Roman person, one of the Romans who was leader over them, to send Paul to Jerusalem for trial, but he didn't because he was going to the place where Paul was being held prisoner in a few days. So when they arrived there, the religious leaders tried to accuse Paul, but they had no evidence. The Roman wanted to send Paul to Jerusalem to appease the Jews, but Paul appealed to Caesar, which any Roman citizen could do, and Paul was one, and they could go and be tried by Caesar himself. So Paul was sent to Rome and put under house arrest for a few years while awaiting trial. So during this time, Paul wrote most of the letters, I believe, or at least many of the letters, not most of, many of the letters that we have in the form of the books of the New Testament. So in these books, he offers encouragement to the Christians while he was in Rome. So Paul took this opportunity to witness to the Romans because he had always wanted to try to witness to them, and this was his opportunity that God told him he was to take to try to share the gospel. It's really moving that Paul was able to carry on and to witness while awaiting his trial, which he knew would probably end in him dying, but he was so motivated to work for the Lord that he was able to continue, and God gave him spirit and the strength that he needed to be a good witness and to continue on in his difficult task. So in this lesson, Paul is really just sending words of encouragement to the Christians, and it's reminding them that they as well have to go through some trials for Christ. All true Christians, and even to some extent you could say to everyone, has to go through difficult portions of their lives, but God has promised to give us strength and to give us His Spirit, so that we can overcome these things which we couldn't on our own. So that's how Paul was able to stay faithful so long and to do the Lord's work and to do a great ministry even while he was trapped in Rome. So it's a reminder for us that whenever we face difficult situations, that we should do the same, that we should turn to God for help. So that's the lesson for this week. For this week's presentation, just want to quickly talk about Romans 11. So in Romans, Paul is talking to the people in Rome, the Romans, and he sent this letter to the church there, and because they're Gentiles, Paul is talking to them about the Jewish nation, because Jews were how Jesus came, and the origin of the Christianity came out of Judaism and out of Judea, out of Israel. So just making a comparison between them. And really, Paul's message in this is that, really to be quick, is that anyone can be saved, and that God's time and his purpose when he was using the Israelite nation to work through is now over because Jesus came to spread the gospel to all of the world. So through Jesus now anyone can have salvation. There's a interesting parable that Paul uses, and it's about an olive tree. He says that the Gentiles were grafted into this olive tree, which the root, which is Jesus, represents. And it says that the original olive branches were cut off, and this is a metaphor of the Jewish nation. God worked through them for a long time, but because of unbelief, Paul says, they were cut out, and God says, poured wrath upon them. So they were punished for, even though God tried to share with them so many times the truth, they were rebellious and they never listened. So they were punished accordingly. So now the gift has been removed and given to them, which is the Gentiles Paul is speaking to. But he warns them that they also could be removed because they were grafted in the metaphor. They were brought in, and so it's warning them that because they're from a non-religious background, they have to be extra careful in a sense. It's really just reminding them that just like the Jews, they can be lost out of the faith, just like the Jewish nation was, but he also reminds them that there's hope, because just like they were brought into the faith, those who were cut out can be grafted back in again. So it's not saying that all of the Jews in the Jewish nation were rejected, but as a nation they were, because as a nation they rejected God. So God did the same, but any who were willing to follow God and who were faithful, who listened to God's word, they were taken in, and any who are willing to listen to God's word, either Gentile or Jew, or in the modern sense, you could take it to say as anyone religious or non-religious, God is willing to accept them if they're willing to accept God. So that's really the message for this week, is to, if anyone is willing to come to God, he's willing to accept them. So that's really the lesson that Paul's trying to get across. Is that now through Jesus, and that's the key emphasis, because Jesus has come, and we can all have his spirit living within us. That's why we can all be unified, even though we're separated by the things in this world. So that's the lesson and the presentation for this week. Hope you enjoyed it, that it was a blessing. See you next week.